Judge Cannon did not rule on either motion today, and Ruth is expected back in court next month. Now you might be wondering, what is Santa Claus doing in a Coca-Cola museum? Well, it's a little known fact. Although they didn't create the idea of Santa Claus, this image was actually shaped by the Coca-Cola advertising agency. And what might come as a shock to most people is the fact that I'm able to stand where I'm at right now. This limestone I'm on and the limestone you can see behind me should not be exposed.
It's easier to visualize the issue in a classroom setting. Staff, maintenance, and even these chairs are all fixed costs, and they stay the same whether the seats are full or mostly empty. When it comes to emergency preparation, Tom likes to reference this list. He's got things like water storage containers, canned foods, and a can opener, and of course, a first aid kit.
You know, we tend to do a lot of stories about shark bites in the immediate aftermath, which begs the question, why is Florida the shark bite capital of the world? Well, it's because the waters here are shallow and warm. Everything the humans like, the sharks like. This property has been passed down from generation to generation and has seen several storms throughout its time, but Robert says the damage has never been this bad.
Justo detrás de mí, miembros de la comunidad se están reuniendo para la bendición del establecimiento de una caja de depósito de bebé en la ciudad de Chiefland.
Florida Democrats at the Democratic National Convention are celebrating primary wins back at home in several school board elections across the state.
At the Gainesville Community Ministry Food Bank on 4th Avenue, people are lining up.
We've been around for 50 years. You know, we're trying to help people help themselves.
That help comes in the shape of cans, boxes, and bags.
A lot of people coming in here needing extra food because they're in crisis now.
But starting next month,
that's the scare.
SNAP benefits are pausing until the federal government passes a budget.
We are going to end up being able to give less food because we're trying to help so many people.
People like Trisha Robinson, a volunteer at the food bank who is also a recipient of SNAP benefits.
I try to keep my eating habits very healthy, lots of fresh foods for sure.
Without SNAP, she says life will be much harder.
You really don't know what's going to happen after this shutdown goes on with the SNAP benefits.
SNAP benefits are supplemental. Without them, people might rely more heavily on food banks like Gainesville Community Ministry, which might put a strain on their stock.
We gave food Tuesday. Normally we have enough to go for one day and finish off the next. We gave out in a few hours.
The food bank feeds around 36 to 52 families a day. Staffers say they have no idea how many more will come in November if the government shutdown continues. In Gainesville, Juan Chaoui, WUFT News. On a hot afternoon in Pony Field,
Reminder, make sure you check into UDB and
the Gator Marching Band is getting ready.
Whew, it's hot.
For the biggest weekend event of the year, the Homecoming Parade.
It's a big honor. We only do a max of 2 parades, a minimum of 1 parade a year, so we take it pretty seriously.
And to Valeria Salazar, there's nothing like the feeling of leading over 400 people through the streets of Gainesville.
For the past 3 years, I've been in the back of the block for the homecoming parade, so this is my first time being right in the front, so it'll definitely be a big difference. Getting to lead Gator Band, that definitely has been a dream of mine for a while.
But none of this would be possible.
So you all will be the first people out of the stands.
Without someone to literally look up to.
This is my 20th year at the University of Florida.
John Watkins is the Associate Director of Bands, and he says effort and precision are what sets the band apart from the rest.
I think the biggest thing that people don't see about the band is how much time it takes and how much work they put in.
It's tough to play an instrument while marching. If you do it right, if you march correctly, it's usually uncomfortable.
Practicing day and night.
It's pretty exhausting, but it's a lot of work. It's worth it.
The feeling's mutual.
That's the best part of my job, is watching the reaction from the audience when they do well.
And the one message Watkins has for everyone attending the parade.
Clap along, sing along, chomp along, have fun. Because that's our goal, is to create an environment where everybody's having fun.
In Gainesville, Juan Chaoui, WUFT News.
Do you want to see her nest?
Janice Gary has put years of work into her garden.
She's grown azaleas, lemon trees, and even raised a few chickens.
There you are. Hello. Were you going to lay an egg and I have disturbed you, huh?
After she finishes outside, she likes to work on her 1,000-piece puzzle.
This is not easy stuff.
She's not talking about the jigsaw.
This whole GRU business is not easy stuff.
When she isn't gardening or fitting pieces together, she's advocating against state control over Gainesville Regional Utilities.
What is happening with GRU today makes me incredibly sad. Our state has permanently taken over our municipal utility.
House Bill 1451 just passed through the Florida Senate.
Lock the board and record the vote.
30 yeas, 6 nays, Mr. President.
Show the bill passes.
The latest chapter in a nearly 3-year battle over who should control the city's public utility, the city of Gainesville or the state. The bill would lock in state control of GRU by preventing local leaders or city voters from overturning the governor-appointed authority board.
Since 2023, a bill was passed that instituted a governor-appointed authority board to oversee GRU. We have been fighting that in the courts.
The history behind this power struggle for control of GRU goes back almost a decade. In 2017, the city bought out its contract with the Gainesville Renewable Energy Center biomass plant, a costly move that added to GRU's mounting debt. In 2022, a state audit found GRU was about $1.7 billion in debt. State lawmakers cited these financial concerns when it took over the utility in 2023. But in 2024, Gainesville voters approved a referendum to return control of GRU to the city.
The voters have overwhelmingly said they don't want the state a part of our city and a part of our municipality.
However, last year, a judge voided that vote over language in the ballot summary being, quote, misleading. Supporters of the bill say this fight is also about people who pay GRU bills but live outside the Gainesville city limits. They argue those customers can't vote in city elections or referendums, even though they're still affected by decisions about the utility.
But the reality is the people that are beyond their municipal boundary cannot vote for them. That is taxation without representation.
A sentiment Senator Stan McLean, the representative of the Alachua, Levy, and Marion County area, voted in favor of. In a statement, GRU CEO Ed Belarski says the authority has remained focused on its customer-first mission while the legislative and court processes play out. He added the authority hopes the bill or a pending court decision will, quote, put this long-standing dispute to rest. But Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward says this takes power away from the voters.
If you don't get the answers you want from us and on anything that we're responsible for, you can fire us. You can't fire members of the Gainesville Regional Utilities Board, no matter how you feel about it.
He says another red flag is a lack of transparency. GRU doesn't currently have an up-to-date, publicly available long-term energy plan.
I don't know how GRU is going to be producing electricity over the next decade, and neither do you, and that should frighten all of us.
The bill has passed the legislature and now awaits the governor's action. The governor would have to veto it within 15 days to prevent it from becoming law. Back at home, Janice Gary says she isn't wavering.
All of us who have been involved in trying to keep the state out and keep this bill from passing, we're taking a breather. We're going to need a couple of days to recover ourselves, and then we'll figure out what the next steps are.
And like the 1,000-piece puzzle on our kitchen table, the future of GRU is still coming together.
So many times I think I have one, and then it does not fit.
In Gainesville, Juan Carlos Chaoui, WUFT News.